Welcome to Sinister Heroes. I'm your host, Danny Iniquitous. Thank you for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, this is a channel about Dungeons and Dragons where we try and take a darker tone with everything we do here. So, if you like edgier kind of content, definitely hit that like and subscribe button. A big thank you to our Patreon supporters. We love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. What you do for us is amazing. If you're interested in becoming a Patreon supporter, the link is in the description, as well as a link to the live stream game, which we're a part of, and our gaming channel. With all that out of the way, we're going to jump into the Reanimator Artificer. So this is Unearthed Arcana, which we have been covering for a little bit now, and we're going to continue because they did release a lot of stuff, so this is really exciting. So the Reanimator, this is your Dr. Frankenstein subclass. I think this is really, really cool. It's really, really impressive to me that they kind of came up with this concept. I think it's awesome. I think it fits in really, really well with the Artificer or Artificer, depending on how you want to say it. And it's just great because you're that mad scientist. It's really, really awesome. The flavor text reads as follows. Reanimators defy the laws of nature in pursuit of gruesome experiment. These grim artificers stitch together servants from disparate corpses, use foul magic to strengthen the living, and transform the art of necromancy into a terrifying science. Boom, right there, Dr. Frankenstein, hand over fist. It is amazing. It's all laid out for you. It is really, really exciting. You do get Reanimator spells, and you always have them prepared, so you don't have to worry about how many spells you can prepare for the day. You do get Witch Bolt. You get Lightning Bolt, which are very, very important for other things we'll talk about later. But you also get False Life, Spare the Dying, Enhance Ability, Blindness, Deafness, Animate Dead, Blight, Death Ward, Anti-Life Shell, and Raise Dead, which are all kind of fit for that theme. So, starting at level 3, you gain the ability Jolt to Life. When you cast Spare the Dying, you can modify the spell so that it sends a jolt of electricity through the target, reviving it. The target regains 1 hit points, and for each creature in a 10-foot emanation originating from the target, makes a dexterity saving throw against your spell save DC. On a fail save, the creature takes lightning damage equal to 1d4 plus half your artificer level. On a successful save, they take half as much damage. You can modify the spell a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier, and you regain all expended uses when you use a long rest. So that is really, really interesting. Obviously, people go down all the time. But you got to put yourself in a circumstance that's really, really interesting to cast this, because it hits each creature within a 10-foot emanation originating from the target. So it is a dexterity save that you do have to make to pass it and only take half damage. But it hits everything. So that does actually include you. It's very weird that they put this together, but you'll understand why a little later. At level 3, you also gain the coolest ability that you get for the Reanimator. You get Reanimated Companion. Using Tinker's tools or another type of Artisan's tools, which you have proficiency, you can take the magic action to create a Reanimated Companion. Through the power of necromancy and science, the companion manifests in an unoccupied space within 5 feet of you. You determine the companion's appearance. Your choices don't affect the companion's game statistics. The companion is friendly to you and your allies and obeys you. It lasts until you finish a long rest or you take a magic action to dismiss it early, at which point it harmlessly collapses into a pile of viscera. It immediately drops to 0 hit points and dies, triggering its Death Burst trait if you die. Once you create a companion, you cannot do so again until you finish a long rest or expend a spell slot to create one. You can only have one companion at a time and can't create one while your companion is present. So, viscera is just like internal organs and muscle tissue. So be aware that's what's going to happen when it is dismissed, basically. So you do have to keep in mind it will be around you. Depending on how it looks, it will be probably important for you to conceal it in certain towns and areas. Now, the companion in combat. The companion acts during your turn. It can move and take its reaction on its own, but it only takes an action. The only action it takes is a dodge action unless you take a bonus action to command it to take an action. If you have the incapacitated condition, the companion acts on its own and isn't limited to the dodge action. Artificers or artificers do not have a lot of bonus actions, so this is pretty great to facilitate your use of this companion. It going on your turn alleviates it being in a different kind of initiative, so that way you guys can always move in tandem and work together. So now we're going to talk about the stats. This is going to be a little bit long, so just bear with me. So its armor class is 10 plus your intelligence modifier, so a maximum 15 AC. It has 4 plus 4 times your artificer level or artificer, and it has a number of hit dice, which are d6s, equal to your artificer's level or artificer. So that is not a huge amount of hit points, but keep in mind anything that attacks it will be taking attacks away from you and other party members, making it totally worth it, even if it just consumes a certain amount of attacks. It is immune to lightning, charmed, exhaustion, and poisoned. I believe it is resistant to necrotic and poison damage. It has a blind sight of 60 feet, which is very incredible. Blind sight makes it so anything that's invisible can be seen and detected by this. So it's not limited by invisible things, which is a great boon for it to have. It's a passive perception of 10. It understands the languages you know. And it gets 2 traits. Death Burst. The companion explodes when it dies. Dexterity saving throw. The DC equals your spell save DC. So each creature in 10-foot emanation originating from the companion take 2d6 necrotic damage if they fail. And it doesn't say exactly what happens, so I'm assuming it takes no damage if it succeeds. So it also gains lightning absorption. Whenever the companion is subject to lightning damage, it regains a number of hit points equal to the damage dealt. So this is what's really important for a few things. First and foremost, you gain the spell Witch Bolt and Lightning Bolt. Granted, you gain Lightning Bolt at level 9, but at level 9, shooting that lightning bolt in a straight line and hitting your reanimated companion is a big heal for your reanimated companion, which is just awesome. And it has 1 attack. It has the attack called Dreadful Swipe, and then the attack bonuses equal your spellcasting modifier. So it has a 5-foot reach. It's 1d4 plus 2 plus your intelligence modifier and necrotic damage, and the target can't take opportunity attacks until the start of its next turn, which is pretty great. Have it swipe, hit, and then you can run away if you did end up too close in combat, which is a very good thing to have. So that does give the reanimated companion a little bit of defensive utility, as well as a great reason to be poured into AoE damage, especially from lightning strikes. So if you have druids that can cast Call Lightning, or any other spellcasters that use lightning and AoE effects, that would be really, really beneficial to it, to keep it going in HP and keep debilitating the enemies around it. At level 5, you gain strange modifications. Whenever you create a reanimated companion, it gives you one of the following options of your choice. Choose when you create the companion. Arcane Conduit. You can cast spells as though you were in the companion space, but you must use your own senses. Once per turn, when you cast an artificer spell from the evocation or necromancy schools and deal damage while your companion is within 120 feet of you, you can add your intelligence modifier to 1 damage roll of that spell. Or ferocity. When you command your companion to take the Dreadful Swipe action, the companion can use it twice. So I think a lot of times people will just initially take ferocity, but keep in mind, Arcane Conduit does give you a couple of cool abilities, mainly because you gain to add your intelligence modifier to your cantrips that are of evocation or necromancy, so you do add damage to it. But it works in tandem with Jolt to Life. Because you can cast spells through the reanimated companion, this gives you a better opportunity to use Jolt to Life, which again is the 3rd level spell that lets you bring back someone who's dead while also emanating out lightning damage equal to 1d4 plus your artificer level rounded up for anyone that fails that save. So that does give you the opportunity. I mean, I always believe that you can choose to fail a dex save, but that's a great way to revive a companion, deal damage around you, and heal the reanimated companion. That is really the kind of thing that flies under the radar with this ability, which I think is a really cool concept. But at this point, you have to decide who you are as a Reanimator Artificer. or Artificer. Because if you're really just using this just as a pet, just to throw out and swing and make attacks, great. You can absolutely do that. That is kind of involved in the circumstance here. But if you're using it as an extension of your character, to be a ranged, to be a conduit for you to get those up close touch spells going, that does give you a different perspective on this character. Because again, you can still use your bonus action to make attacks. So you can't just manipulate it, cast through it, and have it move around and do whatever it takes. Because again, if it does hit with Dreadful Swipe, it cannot take opportunity attacks until the start of its next turn. So you cast a spell, move up a little bit, hit something, and if you still have movement, pull it away. And that can create a very great tactical advantage for this character. Because it's really now in a circumstance where it can be a striker, where it can deliver spells and keep you safe and keep you in a very far distance. So that way you have this great, unique perspective on using your intelligence not as a modifier, but for you to be tactical in combat. For you to do this as maybe you're taking notes on your reanimated companion to try and improve on it, try and see how it works out, and still using your power to influence it and make it better. So it does kind of take away from it being a separate entity and almost instills it as a part of the character, as opposed to just having it as a pet, where if you chose ferocity, it is now just a pet. And that really becomes a unique kind of duality, especially if you're considering giving this reanimated companion a personality, giving it thought and speech and things like that, like Frankenstein and his monster, which is a really cool thing to roleplay through. I think that's a really unique interaction. At level 9, you gain improved reanimation. You experiment and alter your companion further. Whenever you create a reanimated companion, it gains one of the following options of your choice. Choose when you create the companion. Bloated, the companion becomes large or medium, your choice. Whenever it hits a large or smaller creature with its Dreadful Swipe action, that creature can also be pushed up to 10 feet away from the companion. In addition, you can add your intelligence modifier to the damage dealt by the companion's death burst. Gaunt, the companion's speed increases to 45 feet. It was previously 30, so an extra 15 feet of movement can do a lot if you're very tactical with what you want to do. And it gains climb speed equal to its speed. It can climb difficult surfaces, including along ceilings, without needing to make an ability check. In addition, whenever a creature of your choice starts its turn within a 10-foot emanation originating from your companion, the creature must succeed on a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC or become frightened until the start of its next turn. That is really cool. That is your scary climbing the ceiling monster. This is a lot better in conjunction with campaigns where you're not fighting a tremendous amount of undead or fiends. It does make for very cool moments where if you're infiltrating something, if you're sneaking into some place, that you have this thing climbing the ceiling and keeping it within 10-foot emanation. Because if you're above them in like an 8-foot high room and they walk in, you're still catching them in that emanation, and they might be feared before they're able to take any steps forward towards you guys, which I think is really, really cool. Because again, Frighten is one of my favorite status ailments because it's simple, it's effective, and it prevents them from being able to move. And there's a lot of spells that cause fear or frightened condition that has a lot of caveats to it that really make it very unique. And the final option you can choose is Moist. The companion gains a swim speed equal to its speed. In addition, whenever the companion is hit by an attack roll from a creature within 10 feet of it, the attacker takes acid damage equal to your intelligence modifier. Now, the swim speed is really determined on your campaigns. If you're doing something like you're on the Sword Coast or you're running Ghosts of Saltmarsh or something where you're in the ocean, then yes, this becomes more beneficial. If you're using the ferocity modification at level 5, this becomes a very better option for you because you will be more so in combat because you will be dealing more damage like that. It is unique to how you play. You do get to choose these as well as your strange modification, so it does kind of stack up and give you a lot of custom ability, and you get the option to change this whenever you create a new one or every new day. At level 15, you gain the final ability called Promethean Reanimation. You have mastered the science of revivification, granting you the following benefits. Facilitated revival. When you cast Revivify or Raise Dead, the cost of any material components needed for that spell is halved. Improved Companion. The damage of your reanimated companion's death burst increases to 4d6. Additionally, any necrotic damage dealt by your companion ignores resistance. Life Transfer. You can siphon the animating magic of your companion to bolster yourself. When you take damage, you can use your reaction to cause your reanimated companion to drop to 0 hit points. The companion immediately dies, triggering its death burst trait, and you regain hit points equal to your artificer level or artificer's level. Now these are always on. So once you hit 15th level, which again is a very high level, your death burst jumps up from 2d6 in a 10-foot emanation to 4d6. And the necrotic damage ignores resistance. The only things that are immune to it would really have any kind of negative effects. Would really not do any damage to it, but everything else will take full damage from that. Granted, they fail the saving throw, as opposed to succeeding and taking what seems to be no damage. Revivify and Raise Dead. You're an artificer or an artificer. It doesn't really make sense to me that you would be doing that, but again, these things would kind of depend on your circumstance and your party's organization. The artificer does have a lot of curative and support ability, so you do get some options to play around and doing that in your campaigns. Life Transfer is really now a very strategic thing. As you're burning through spells and you're watching your companion take damage, you might be in circumstances where you've run out of lightning damaging spells, where you've been expending a lot of resources, and now you're low on hit points, and here comes a circumstance where you took a big hit. You can use this tactfully. It's not just a heal from you. Depending on where you put your reanimated companion or what they're surrounded by, this can be a very beneficial circumstance where yes, you did take a hit, and yes, it is bad for you to take that hit, but if you strategically purposed your reanimated companion to be in an advantageous circumstance, when this happens, it eventually will die. It's not built to be a tank. It's not a barbarian in high armor. It's not that. It's meant to take a few hits and then die. That's part of it. That's why its AC is 15 and its hit points is based on a multiple of 4 plus 4. It's not a huge amount of hit points that really make a very big difference for that. So understanding it is going to die, and understanding that as a real conscious component of your character gives Life Transfer not only a quick heal for you for a decent amount of hit points, but a way to turn that into an offensive opportunity as well. And that can be really, really useful. So the Reanimator really fits that awesome Dr. Frankenstein aesthetic. I think it's really cool. I like that it gives you a pet that you can really do a lot of customization to, and it really feels like it's comparable to the Battlesmith, but it really makes it spookier and gross, which is definitely my deal, but it gives you a reason to really be invested and obsessed with your own creation. And I really like that because that tells a story in and out of itself, especially considering how does this impact the other party members? How do you work with people or someone that is constantly doing this? It is really weird, very cool, very, very scary looking, and you're Dr. Frankenstein. It's so awesome to be able to create your monster and to keep evolving your monster and making it better and better and better. And then when you finally hit Promethean Reanimation, it's not so much that it's gotten so great, it's that you've mastered the revivification science, and now you can end it at a whim and restore your own life. Like, that's really, really cool. It kind of gives you now this like god complex ability where like this thing that you cared so much about is now just there to explode so that way you can feel better. Like, I love that, and it does give you cool duality of a character, which is a lot of fun. So if you like the Reanimator, if you've played it already, definitely let us know in the comments. We want to hear about it. We want to hear your opinions. We'd love to hear from you guys. It's really, really moving to us to engage with you and hear what you think and what things you don't like. With all that said and done, we're going to bring this video to a close. If you absolutely liked what we did, definitely hit that like and subscribe button. If you can, support us on Patreon. It makes a huge difference. We desperately, desperately appreciate everything that our Patreon supporters do. It's really important to us that you guys really take that dedication and that step forward and are able to support us in that way. And a big thank you to our good friends at Critical Failures. We're part of a live stream game. Check us out on Wednesday nights. And thank you for giving a spooky kid a chance.